All right. Hello to my single participant. What is your name? All right. Anonymous, I see. Excellent. All right. Welcome back to Can Stretch with Steve. And today we're going to go over some toes, ankles, maybe some knees. All right. I'm going to be going on a run later, so I thought this was a good opportunity to take care of some of my ankle issues, all right, and get a feel for them before I start my run. All right. First of all, you will notice I have toe spacers in. All right. I started wearing toe spacers maybe about a year ago, and they definitely helped me feel my toes a little bit more, get more in touch with my toes, because now when they're in there, I look at my feet and I try to spread my feet out as wide as I can. All right, so let's do that together. I got my toe spacers in. You don't need toe spacers, but with your knees bent, just sitting on the floor, heels on the floor, let's try to really spread our toes as wide as we can. Hold it there, squeeze it there, keep squeezing. How wide can you get your toes? You should start to see the tendons on the top of your feet light up and relax it. Good. Let's do it again. Let's squeeze. Think about spreading your toes. How wide can you get them? How wide can you get them? How wide can you get them? And rest. You might notice that this is a lot more difficult than you thought it would be. All right. That is because you box your feet up into shoes and, you never really try to wiggle or control your toes on a regular basis. And you've been doing that for probably your whole life. So toe spacers can help you get more in touch with your toes to be spread, and then you can start to wiggle them like that, and you'll start to notice your tendons of your foot start to pop up a little bit more as you get better at it. Okay, let's try some toe cars from our deep squat position, right? If you can't comfortably or safely get into this position, I would advise you to either A, elevate your heels up, or B, just do these from standing, okay? So from here right now, I'm going to try to lift only my big toe off the ground. And that's very difficult for me to do. Hold it there, just that big toe. Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, and relax. All right, let's try again, just the big toe. Lift off, lift off, lift off. It's okay if it doesn't happen. Keep trying to send signals and relax. Good. Let's try all 8 little toes lifting off the ground now. All 8 little toes. Lift off, lift off, lift off. Keep trying, keep trying. I see some tendons in my feet popping out. And relax. All 8 little toes lift off again. Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. Lift off, lift off, lift off, and relax. Good, nice work. Let's try to lift all 10 toes off the ground. And let's try to put just our big toe back on the floor. And lift back up. All 10 toes are off the ground. Just the big toe back on the floor. And lift off. Good. Let's keep the big toe off the ground and just put all 8 little toes down on the ground. And lift back up. And all 8 little toes one more time. And back up. Good, we can have a seat. So that should give you some insight into how well you can control your toes. Why is toe control important? Not just for running, but simple walking. Your big toe of whatever the trailing leg is, at one point in gait, most of your weight is on that single big toe. And if your single big toe can't by itself extend, then it's just constantly being forced into that extension and with all of your weight on it, and that's not going to last very long. All right, cool. Let's get into some ankle cars. So we're going to do this just one at a time. So I want you to sit with left leg tucked underneath you, right forearm underneath the knee, clasp your right hand into your left hand. All right. So I'm going to focus on my ankle joint here. What that means is you should not see my shin rotate side to side. All you should see is from here down move. All right, let's try it together. We're going to step back down on the gas pedal, plantar flex. Then we will start to supinate or roll the sole of the foot that direction, and then start pulling the toe up into dorsiflexion, and then rolling out into pronation, and then down on the gas pedal into plantar flexion. One more lap around. Plantar flexion, supination, dorsiflexion. Notice I'm trying to keep my toes just neutral. Pronation, plantar flexion. Reverse, pronation, into dorsiflexion, supination, plantar flexion down on the gas pedal. One more lap. Pronation, make sure you're not moving that shin. Dorsiflexion, supination, plantar flexion. Good. Let's switch sides. So I'm seated on my right butt cheek, left hand underneath the hamstring, interlock with my right hand here. Okay, remember, I should not see my shin rotate back and forth. I should only see my ankle joint do the work. Okay, we are here. Let's start plantar flexion, press down on the gas pedal. Supinate. Up into dorsiflexion. You can see that my toes are going haywire right now because I'm not very good at controlling this ankle independently of my toes. Pronation. Down on the gas pedal, plantar flex. You also see I'm a little bit less accurate with stopping the shin from moving. Go around one more lap. Supinate. Dorsiflex. Pronate. Plantar flex. Let's reverse. Before we reverse, I want to talk about some closing angle pain. So, as you're forming a circle with your joint, one side of the joint is closing, the other side is opening. If you ever feel closing angle pain, I need you to make your circle smaller. Okay, so we're just going to try to bypass our closing angle pain. So, the best way I can show this is in if I'm coming up into dorsiflexion, this is the closing angle, this is the opening angle back here, right? I should not feel pain in the front part of my ankle. Same deal, if I'm going into plantar flexion, this is the closing angle, this is the opening angle. I should not feel pain in my closing angle or my Achilles, okay? If you feel pain in these closing angle positions, I just want you to make the circle smaller for right now, okay? Let's go one more lap, 2 more laps around in the opposite direction. So plantar flex, let's pronate first, up into dorsiflexion, supinate, plantar flex, pronate, dorsiflex, supinate, plantar flex. Excellent. Nice work. Good. Now, I want to go into a bent knee, calf, or Achilles stretch. This is a very difficult stretch for some people to find, all right? So we're going to take our time getting the setup properly. And the setup, well, let's start with our right leg stretching first, all right? And this is going to be called a right ankle, pails, and rails from a bent knee position. So the bent knee position that we're going to go into is a position that looks like this. It's called combat base. All right. If you think of those old GI Joes, right? Here's our combat base position. Okay. So we're in that position. And what the position is that my butt is back on my left heel. My left knee is bent. Okay. This might be a very difficult position for some people. If it is, you can always do this bent knee stretch from standing, all right, with your arms against the wall, and you can just bend the knee like that, okay? But for me to be in the picture today, I'm doing it from combat base. So what we're going to do, we have to keep our heel on the ground at all times. Heel must stay on the ground. And we are slowly going to direct our right knee forward, closing this angle, searching for a stretch in my open angle right here behind the calf. And if I do that slowly and start breathing at my end range and relaxing this, I can start feeling a stretch back here in my Achilles. Now, some people are going to have difficulty doing that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my left hand, put it on the floor, and I'm actually going to push my body forward and take my right hand and try to push that knee forward or my right forearm and apply a little weight to the top of it. If I'm still having trouble feeling it, what I can do is I can activate the muscles in the front part of my shin, and that will help me feel the stretch back there. So activating the muscles in the front part of your shin means you're going to think of squeezing this muscle right along the front of your shin to pull your knee forward. Let's try that in 3, 2, 1. Squeeze that. I'm going to put a little extra weight on my knee to help guide it. I'm taking my time with it. And then I'm going to relax that. And now I got a pretty nice stretch in my Achilles back here. All right. If you're still having trouble finding that stretch, I don't want you to get upset. Finding a stretch is a skill and an art. It's not easy to do, especially if you want to be highly specific with your stretching. It might take time. It might take a few weeks for you to find it, for you to target that tissue, especially if you've never worked Achilles and calves before. Some other tips that you can try. You can try directing the knee at different angles just by moving it back and forth, all right? You can try to take an external load like a dumbbell and push down on your thigh, and that will help increase the stretch there, all right? I know that this is kind of an uncomfortable position to be set in, and we've been in here for about 1.5 minutes. So I want to get into our pails and rails, which are isometric contractions, but first I just want to describe it. So we're going to do 2 isometric contractions. That means that no movement's going to occur. We're just going to activate our tissue or flex our tissue, much like we do when we flex our bicep. Nothing actually moves, but we can certainly see that our biceps are activated. We're going to do the same thing with the tissue surrounding the ankle joint. My first activation is going to be a pails contraction. And what the pails contraction is a contraction of the stretched tissue. So that means I'm going to try to activate the Achilles area. And in order to activate the Achilles, what I'm going to try to do is press down into the floor with the balls of my feet. All right, when I tell you to do that, we're going to try to do that very lightly. In 3, 2, 1, let's activate very lightly. And you should be able to feel that tissue activating. Now start ramping up the amount of activation you're giving it. If you are very controlled with your muscle activation, you should be able to go 0% activation, 1% 1%, 2%, 3%, and hit every number in between 1 and 100. Slowly start ramping that up until you get to your safest, greatest activation today. For me, I'm going to stop at around 50% because right now I just want to warm up the ankle joint. I don't want to tire it out all that much since I said I'm going on a run after this. So I'm just going to go to 50% and I'm still activating. We're going to keep this activation going for about 10 more seconds, and then we're immediately going to switch to the rails contraction, which is going to be activation of this front shin, top of foot tissue area in order to help me close this gap more. Let's activate that in 3, 2, 1. Squeeze that front part of the tissue. If you do this correctly, you may actually feel more stretching occur in the backside, and you may actually see some movement of me getting my shin even closer to the top of my foot. On this activation, I am certainly squeezing very hard. You should still try to ramp up the amount of activation, starting from 1%, making your way up to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And here I'm going a little bit more than 50% because I really want to help stretch out my Achilles. I really want to activate that front part of the shin. That's a problem area for me. Keep squeezing that rails contraction. Keep squeezing it, keep squeezing it, keep squeezing it, and relax it. Don't alter body positions. We're just staying in this bent kneecap stretch. So we've been in this position for almost 5 minutes. That is a hell of a long time to be in a stretch tissue position. However, that is what it takes to create some change. Not only your time under tension in a stretch, but also the activations that we just did, those pails and rails, all right? And you can do as many of them as you want as you get more advanced, all right? Today, we're just gonna do one activation. We already did it, and we're gonna slowly come out of that. Come out of it however is comfortable for you. Your body may have something to say about what you just did. Let's just sit on our butt, shake it out a little bit, just doing little circles, not even carves or not that focus. All right. And everything should feel good. If it doesn't feel good, it probably means that you activated too hard on your pails and rails, or that you went too deep into the stretch for too long of a time, okay? So since you're doing a class with me and I'm dictating the time, what you should do is back off the stretch, all right? Since you can't alter the time, alter the intensity. Let's get into our other leg. So I'm gonna find combat base position on this side. So I'm on my right knee with my left foot on the floor. Remember rule number 1, left heel's got to stay on the floor. I may need to pull this heel backwards a little bit to increase the angle of stretch. And I'm going to use my free hand here and just drive forward a little bit, searching for a stretch in my Achilles. I'm going to start my little timer here so we can see how much time under tension we're actually spending. You know, the best way to describe time under tension is it's time spent in one position. Think about how much time under tension you spend in sitting. Think about how much time under tension your ankle joint spends in a neutral position or not really moving, right? Or if you're in shoes or high heels, think about how much time under tension you spend in a plantar flex position. That's why you can't dorsiflex that well, all right? So here, I'm still searching for that calf Achilles stretch. I'm having trouble finding it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate the front part of my shin to help me sink deeper into that stretch. And there we go. I got it. I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure there. I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure there. Good. So you'll notice even my setup on this side is a little different than my setup on the other side. The setup doesn't matter as much as long as you're still feeling the stretch, okay? Different people are going to have slightly different setups. This is why it's important for you to figure out your own body and explore and be patient with it and find positions that work for your body. Again, this combat-based position is kind of a tough position to hold for 5 minutes. So if it's not for you, you can try the standing variety of the bent knee calf stretch. All right, we've been in here for 90 seconds. We're going to give it another 30 seconds, and then we're going to do our PALS rails. So let's describe the PALS first. PALS is a contraction of your Achilles, or a contraction of that stretched tissue. All right. So how I would contract that or activate it is I would think about the balls of my foot pressing down into the ground, or almost as if I'm trying to do a calf raise, right? But no movement's going to occur because it's an isometric that we are sustaining for anywhere from like 30 to 40 seconds. Okay, let's do our PALS contraction here in 3, 2, 1. Very lightly activate that stretched tissue. I found it. I got it. I can feel it. I'm going to slowly start ramping up the intensity that I'm pressing down with. I'm breathing. I can start activating other muscles in my body to help create more tension and more pressure in the working tissue. That concept is called irradiation. I haven't gone over that in detail yet, but if you flex more muscles in your body, you'll be able to produce more force through this isometric contraction in your calf, all right? Which in the long term will increase strength gains, which increases mobility gains, which increases flexibility gains. Okay, in 5 seconds, we're going to stop our PALS contraction and we're going to go to rails. 3, 2, 1. Relax the PALS. Start activating the front part of that shin. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. I'm feeling even more intense stretching going on there. Maybe some cramping on the front side of that ankle joint. Man, I'm very happy with my ankle dorsiflexion. I've been working on it a lot. You can see myself in the camera. It's looking pretty good. I'm happy with it. Keep squeezing, keep squeezing. But it's taken me years to get here because my ankle sucked years ago. So it's just taking consistent effort over years. Are you willing to put in that time and effort? It's up to you. Keep doing that rails contraction. Keep feeling the stretch here. And this is another way that you can kind of check out your tissue. I see I'm a little swollen right back here for some reason. I'll probably have to check that out a little bit later. That might mean that something's not working so well. You know, it's been nice. I've been doing more walks outside. Good. You can rest the contraction, but just stay in this deep stretch. We're going to spend another 45 seconds here. But, you know, holding stretches and doing CARs are great ways for you to assess what's going on in your body. All right. You know, we have all this time now, now that we're not commuting to work. I know some of us are still working, but you know, you're not commuting to work. You should be spending time observing and listening to your body and figuring out what's going on the inside. And like I said, I just noticed a little swollen area right there. It's not tender, but it's definitely inflamed a little bit. I'll just check it out and see what it's all about. Good. I'm going to slowly come out of there. I have a seat on the floor. All right. So we just did one set of PALS rails for the ankle joint, and the knee is the next proximal joint, and that was bent. Okay. I want to now integrate that pattern into a more gross movement. Okay. And how we're going to do that is from the deep squat position, because that bends our knees. If you can't get into deep squat position, you have two options. You can elevate your heels, or you can grasp onto an immovable object in front of you to help counterbalance you. So an immovable object is something that is at least 4 times your body weight. Okay. So you may not have something like that at your home. But if you're doing this in a gym, or you have a pole, a beam that you can latch onto, you can use that. Or your third option is just don't go into the deep squat. Go into like a quarter squat. All right. So let's get into our deep squat position, whatever position works for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to try some eccentric neural grooving. All right. So what that is let me show you what it looks like first, and then I'll explain it. So I'm here in this deep squat, and you're going to see me rock forward and then slowly rock backward. Rock forward, slowly rock backward. Okay? So I apologize, I used the wrong term. This is called kinetic stretching. Eccentric neural grooving is slightly different. All right, so kinetic stretching. What I'm doing is I'm going to use the tissues that I just did Pale's rails on to move my body. So to pull myself forward, I want to use this rails tissue in the front part of the shin. So I'm going to activate that. And I'm going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. And I should be feeling that pull my body forward a little bit. And now to push backwards, I'm going to activate my rails tissue by pressing the balls of my feet into the ground. I should rock backwards. Let's go forward again. Rails activation, dorsiflexion, Pale's activation, plantar flexion. Okay, so I'm not trying to use momentum. I'm not trying to use weight shift. I'm actually activating tissues to pull me forward and activating tissues to push me backwards. And the tissues I'm focused on are all around the ankle joint. Pull forward, squeeze tight. How far forward can you get? Push backwards. All right, so it's like I'm doing a calf raise without actually raising up onto the heels. We'll get to that. We're going to do that next. All right, keep going. We're going to do this for about another 30 seconds here. Explore, try to activate all the tissues around the ankle joint. Remember, when we pull forward, we're activating the front part of the ankles. When we push backwards, we're activating the calves and back part of the ankles. Pull forward, push backwards. Pull forward, push backwards. Good. Last thing I want to do from here is calf raises. So from here, I'm going to go up onto the toes and back down. That's 1. Up onto the toes and back down. 2. We got 10 of these. Up high, think about that big toe. If you lose your balance, just put your hands down to catch you. 4. 5. Good way to help bulletproof that ankle joint. 6. 7. Oh, things are burning now. 8. 9. And 10. Good. And let's sit. Oh, yeah. Oh, that deep squat position feels so nice. Oh, all right. Cool. So we just did a lot of calf work from that bent knee position. That bent knee position is really important for the deep musculature of the calves, all right, a muscle called your soleus. Now I want to do something that's a little bit more calf belly, or what you see, when someone has big calves. We're going to try to work that muscle out. So I'm just going to direct the camera angle a little bit higher. Okay. Okay. So all right. So I'm going to face away from you because I want you to see my calf. All right. And this is actually a very good setup for me. I have something to kind of lean on and to drive my body forward. What I'm focused on here is finding a stretch in my right calf. Okay. So from the side angle, I look like this. I don't even need something to lean on. I can actually find the stretch here. All right. It's a skill. It takes a little practice to find stretch. The easiest way would be lean onto something, step your back leg backward, and just drive the body forward. Alexa, set timer for 1 minute.
1 minute, starting now.
All right, so right now I'm going to keep finding that stretch. And as I deep belly breathe, I should be able to get deeper into this position. As time goes on in a stretch, you should feel the stretch calm down a little bit if you're breathing properly. All right? If you're not, then your body's just going to fight back and rebel against that range of motion. After we hold this for a minute, we're going to go into calf raises from this position. But my angle of push for the calf raise is going to be 45 degrees forward. All right? So I'm not going to push straight up. I'm going to push like I'm launching my body 45 degrees forward, or like I'm about to go into a sprint. Alexa, cancel timer. All right, here we go. I'm going to go high up into my calf raise. I'm pushing forward, pushing forward. I'm focusing my energy on that big toe is what I'm trying to push down into the floor. Hold it there, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm slowly going to lower that heel back down to the floor. I'm going to think that I'm pressing it hard down into the floor. Push down, 3, 2, 1. Back up onto the toe. Get up high as you can. Push, 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 3, 2, 1. Pull it back down. Drive that heel into the ground. 3, 2, 2. We got 5 total. Up onto the toe. 3, 2, 3. Back down. Squeeze, push, drive. 3, 2, 3. Up onto the toe. 3, 2, 4. Back down. 3, 2, 4. And up. 3, 2, 5. Back down. 3, 2, 5. Nice work. Let's come out of that. Shake it out. And let's go right into our other leg. So let's switch sides. We're going to find that calf stretch. And this calf stretch is pretty common. Can you see my heel there? I think you can. Good. This calf stretch is pretty common, so I'm hoping that you guys understand how to do this one pretty well. All right. Let's talk about some nuances of this calf stretch. If I turn my toe out like so, I'll feel a different type of stretch. If I turn it in like so, I'll feel a different type of stretch. Right here, I can actually tell I need a deeper stretch. I'm going to hold my foot at this angle. Remember, all of our bodies are different. Use this time to explore different angles. You will stretch different tissue. Alexa, set timer for 1 minute.
1 minute, starting now.
Breathe, relax into that stretch. Try to keep that back knee as straight as you can. We should be feeling this in and around the muscle belly of the calf. Got a couple more seconds here, holding this stretch, and then we're going to go up into our calf raise. You can see my leg is shaking because I've been time under tension for a long time for this calf. This calf feels unusually tight today. This was actually the calf that I noticed that swollenness in the Achilles, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. Alexa, cancel timer. All right, let's go up onto the toe as high as we can. 3, 2, 1. Now drive that heel slowly and firmly into the ground. Activate. 3, 2, 1. Back up high to the sky. Hold it there. Press. 3, 2, 1. Come on back down. Drive that heel down into the floor. 3, 2, 2. 3, 2, 3. 3, 2, 3. 2 more. 3, 2, 4. 3, 2, 4. 3, 2, 5. 3, 2, 5. Good. Rest. Shake it out. Okay. I know my head is a little chopped off here. That's okay. You don't need to see my face because we are going to work on our final thing, which is going to be an integrative pattern of the ankle joint working with the knee joint. All right. Everything we've really done thus far has been stabilizing the knee in order to mobilize the ankle. That's all well and good. All great stuff. Your ankle joint needs to be able to work independently. However, after you start getting the ankle joint to move independently, it is time to integrate it into a more complex motion so that it learns how to work and speak to your other joints. In this exercise, we're going to have it speak to the knee joint. Okay? Here is my goal. I'm standing in the center of a clock. I have 12, 9, 3. Okay? By only bending my ankle and my knee, I'm going to take my left leg and try to touch as far out at 12, 9, and 3 as I can. Okay? I cannot bend my hip though. So think about it this way. My right leg is staying stationary. Ankle and knee can move, but I can't bend over at the hip. Okay? I'm going to reach out as far as I can and lightly tap the floor. I don't want to transfer any weight. All right? So let's try this. With our left leg, we'll reach out to 12. I can only bend my knee and ankle. If I think I've gone as far as I can, I'm going to pause for a second and try to go a little bit deeper. You see how my torso stayed upright, my knee and ankle are bent, I'm tapping, and then I'm going to stand back up. Next, I'm going to go out to my left towards 9 o'clock. Again, I can bend that knee and ankle, and I can reach out. I can counterbalance my weight, but I am not bending over at the hip. And then drive back up. I'm going to go over to 3 by way of wrapping my left leg around me. Bend that knee and ankle. Reach. Focus on that knee and ankle working. Reach as far as I can. And stand back up. Nice work. Let's try one more lap around with that leg, and then we'll do the other leg. When you are doing this, you should get more sensation and feeling into that right ankle joint that we were just feeling when we were doing the isolated work. There should be carryover there. Here we go. Right knee and ankle bend. Reaching really far in front. How far can I get? Tap. Stand back up. Reaching out towards 9 o'clock. Bending that knee and ankle. Playing with angles of that knee and ankle. Tap. Come back up. And reaching out towards 3 o'clock, light tap, and back up. Good. This is called a barrier squat. All right, I'm trying to touch the barrier around me. Let's go into my left side now. All right. Left leg is my balance leg. Right leg is my reach leg. Remember, I'm only moving my left knee and ankle. I will start to bend them. I will reach out in front of me towards 12 o'clock. Pause for a second, allow it to sink and go deeper. Allow my body to figure out what I want done. Tap. Good. Come back up. Out towards 3 o'clock. Bend that knee and ankle. Look at my knee position. I'm playing with angles to see how deep can I get to tap out as far as I can. Come back up. Bend that knee and ankle. Keep your torso upright. Really reach. And come back up. Good. Let's go one more lap around here. Bend knee and ankle. Tap. At 12, bend knee and ankle. Find what position you can get the most bend out of the knee and ankle. I'm good right about there. Counterbalance with arms. Tap. And around to 9 o'clock. Tap. Good. Nice work. Shake them out. All right. Last thing I want to do, since we got 5 minutes here to finish off with, is just some supination and pronation of the ankle. I would recommend, if you have a history of ankle sprains, that you just do it sitting down on a chair or one at a time. All right, so I'm going to show you one at a time. That's going to be right leg first. Watch, I'm going to supinate my ankle as much as I can. Push. How far can I get? How far can I get? Hold it there. And with tension, squeezing, 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 come back. Supinate again. With tension, I'm not just falling into this position, I'm actively rolling into it. Come back again. One more time here in this right leg supination. Come back again. Good. Left leg supination. Push and roll out. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Come on back. Through tension. Don't just flip it back. I'm actively pushing out like that. And then I'm actively flipping and pulling my ankle back. Actively push out. And actively come back. Good. Now let's go into pronations. I'm going to spread my legs a little bit. With this pronation, you might get a little bit of knee bend and internal rotation of the hips. That's okay for right now. But we're going to try to flip our foot as far up onto that medial edge as possible, squeezing everything out here to pull up. And then through tension, pushing back down to the ground. Squeezing, 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 pull up as high as you can. And pushing back down into the ground. One more time, squeezing, 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 pronate, pronate, pronate. And push down into the ground. Good. Last time on the left side. Let's pronate, pronate, pronate. Lift up the lateral edge of that foot. And back down into the ground. Pronate, 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 pronate. Squeeze the outer part of that shin. And push back down into the ground. And last time. Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. Almost cramp, almost cramp. And push back down into the ground. Woo! My ankle's feeling good. All right. If you want a little challenge here at the end of class, if you have healthy, strong ankles, you can do a supinated ankle squat. So you're here, squat. You're going to bring feet together, squat, called a butterfly squat. All right, and you can play with that. These are all ways to strengthen your ankle joint, because I can guarantee you when you're running, at some point, your ankle will involuntarily roll like that. Number one way that people sprain ankles, just like that, okay? Why aren't you strength training that position? All the stuff we did today will help strength train the position. Remember, this is the hardest thing to do, so don't start here. Start back at our ankle cars, start back at our toe cars, start back at our pals rails, all right? Do all that stuff first, and then eventually you can get to some squatting with your ankles like that. Take it slow. Like I said, I've been working on this for years. It took me a long time to get a healthy ankle. Be patient. We got no rush. We're quarantined. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. I hope you learned a little something about your ankle. I'll see you guys next week for You Need to Stretch.